Welcome back to the Swear News Show. It is our final hour, which means it's time for See the Stories, our signature segment. Now, as we all know, you might know somebody whose birthday is celebrated every 4 years.
I don't have any friends, actually.
I have a family friend, and it is very interesting. It is very interesting.
Telling us.
So I told you before. So when I asked her, how do you celebrate your birthday? And she says, like, I usually get a card on the 28th of February or sometimes on the 1st of March. But every 4 years, she celebrates hard, she says. It's deservingly so, because it's like, if we party every year, she parties every 4 years. So now that, you know, it marks February 29th, they're also known as the Quadrennial Leap Day, which roughly happens every 4 years. Here's everything you need to know about what a leap day actually is.
The leap year calculation is based on the Earth orbiting the Sun. Since 2024 complies with every leap year requirements, it is, in fact, a leap year. It is divisible by 400 as well as by 4, not just by 100. As a result, February the 2024 will have 29 days rather than customary 28 days.
According to the Indonesian National Institute of Aeronautics and Space, or LAPAN website, 1 year is actually not exactly 135 days, but precisely 135 days more with an extra 5 hours, 48 minutes. So every 4 years, there will be a shortage of about 23 hours, 15 minutes to compensate for this. Every 4 years, aha! 1 day is added, which makes it February the 29th.
Now I know.
But it could be like any day, but I know that, like, you know, I know that every other month is already 30 or 31, so okay, I guess it's fine to add to February, right? But now let's delve into the Quadrennial Leap Day of 2024 with Jakarta Planetarium and Observatory staff. Muhammmad Rayhan. Hi, good evening, Mas Rayhan.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
So the Jakarta Planetarium is in Taman Ismail Marzuki.
That's right. Yes.
And I've been walking past the planetarium wanting to take my kids in, but it turns out you have a small office in the back of the Jakarta Theater now. But could you please explain the distinguishing features of a leap year in the Gregorian calendar?
Yeah, as you already mentioned that in 100 years, we can simply say that every 4 years there will be leap years. So we added 1 day into February.
Right.
But if we talk more than 100 years, the other rules will govern that it's not leap year if it's only divisible by 100. So it should be divisible by 400. 400, yes. But because, you know, like because it's every 100 years, so it's quite long time. So we can just simply say that every 4 years, just like that.
I'm just really curious, like we're talking about leap, like they add 1 day because we actually for leap year, it's more like 5 hours, like you delivered before.
No. So every year has an extra 5 hours.
Extra 5 hours.
Which means every 4 years, 5 times 4 plus an extra minute would make an extra 24 hours.
And 1 day.
That's it.
That's it.
It's complicated. It's math in my head.
It's math, something math. But actually, I just really want to know, like, why is the inclusions of the leap years necessary to our calendar now?
Yeah.
Well, before I answer that question, I actually want to make a corrections.
Okay.
Actually, why there is leap years exist? Why leap days exist? Because we always say that in 1 day there will be 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
In fact, there's actually not exactly 24 hours.
Yeah, there are more minutes, right?
Not more actually, but less than that.
Oh,
we only have 23 hours. 56 minutes and 4 seconds.
No, I know.
Yeah, so there will be 4 minutes extra.
Extra, yeah.
4 minutes extra. That 4 minutes, if we multiply it by a whole year, I mean 365, it's actually to 6 hours.
Yeah.
That's why not 4 hours per year,
year.
but 6 hours
But 6
per year.
hours. Ah,
So that's why
yeah, makes sense.
if we
Also-
multiply it by 4, every 4 hours, it's 24 hours.
Yes.
So a little bit correction for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for
but
the
okay,
correction,
but
actually.
yeah, but so it's basically done to add to correct the timings of the Earth around the
Yes.
sun. So it's very interesting. It's like, you know, you have to pay a debt, so you add an extra day. So how do you? What happens? Because I know that your specialty is planetarium, right? Can you tell us what happens around the sun, though, while we're circling and having that extra day? Is there a, you know, because I know that 1 month is one round around the moon, the moon around the Earth, and then Earth around the sun is 1 year. So where does the leap year, this additional, you know, hours come into the entire, you know, circle of 4 years?
Yeah, because why do we have leap years? It's because simply because we have to do that to make accordance time with the real time of the revolution of the Earth to the Sun. So it means that in one rotation, it's exactly not 24 hours, but 23, 56, and 4 minutes. But it will be very hard for us if we'll see you in 23 hours. And
So true.
it will be easier for us to come. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll see you in 24 hours. So it's actually to simplify. To simplify.
Right.
And actually, also in 1 year, it's not 65 days, but actually 365.4 days. So like 1/4 extra.
Yeah.
Of course, that's also not a round number, so it will be difficult for us to mention that. So to overcome that problem, okay, let's say that we can just round that time a day and a year, but we put leap days in every 4 years.
For that reason.
For that reasons.
So I just like you told about like the circulation system thing,
The solar system.
the solar system thing. I just really want to know like how impactful this leap year with our navigation maybe or astrological and something like that.
Because it means that we don't have 24 hours in a day, but how does it have an effect that our clock keeps on circling the 4 hours? And
It is.
I don't, you know, because that means like we're like extra, right?
Yeah, people will confuse about it. It's normal because why do we have leap year? Why don't just we make it round like always like 365? Actually, why do we have a system of time? Why do we have system of calendar right now? It's actually because it's based on the circulation of the Earth around the Sun. It means that calendar is actually born because of our observation through the celestial object.
Yeah.
Without that, we will have no any system of time. We will have no calendar.
Yeah.
So why do we have a concept of time? Why do we have the concept of day, weeks, month, and years? It's only because we see a pattern between the celestial object.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are the tools for us to make a calculation for the time. So why do we have to make a leap day? Without that, we will have a difference calculation between time and something like we call like seasons, for example. You see that way before we have a calendar, people using celestial object to observe, right? Yeah. And that thing is used to be, you know, like for agriculture, how to start to plant, how to start to harvest, and then for sailor, for example, they use that also for to keep track of time.
Right.
How long will it take from one island to another island, from one continent to another continent? It's really important. Well, it's also important today. If we don't have leap years, we will find that, for example, in Indonesia, rainy season is usually come from like September to February or March, for example, and then after that it's followed by the summer. Without leap year, we will find that our
chaos.
time system will be chaos, and we will see that the season will be different. It's no longer at the exact time of that we already know.
Right.
So like in the north hemisphere, snow time will be lies on July.
Right, right.
Because you got the extra time. Right?
Yeah, because of extra time that we don't track time rightly in that case.
So my question is this: with climate change, we still have the set amount of time.
Of course.
But the seasons are changing either way.
Yes.
Yes.
So how are we going to deal with that? It doesn't matter, right? Because this is already a set of time. But you know what I mean. So how are we going to deal with that? Is that still going to affect leap years or not?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. However, with the change of climate,
are we going to change? Okay, January starts in 2 months. In 2 months, it's not going to be June. January will start. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But climate and weather is actually really depends and really affected by the sun. You know, it's not matter if we don't have rainy season. It's not matter if we don't have summertime.
But does it matter if we don't have sun?
But doesn't matter if we don't have sun.
If we don't have sun, we don't have life. Stop.
Yeah, that's why. So
It's a bloom day.
Nothing lives.
whatever happens inside the earth, you know, like in climate, because it's inside, right?
Yeah.
Whatever happened with climate inside the earth, the sun is still there.
Yeah.
It means that there will be still a shift in time. So the earth is still tilting, right? And then it's also still make a revolution around the sun. So that's not changing. So however, if the climate change is changing our season, changing our climate, it will be depends on the sun. So it will be way back to the sun. If we don't have tracker time, right tracker time of the time according to the sun, yeah, we'll be confused after that.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
And the next question, just curious, like why February?
Yeah.
That's also a good point.
You could have added it, you know, a 32nd day in December or something, you know?
Yeah, for that question, we actually have to look back to history, actually. So, before that, I explained you about...
Why does February only have 28 days?
Yeah, that's right. So, historically, we know that...
That's my big question mark, actually.
The calendar system that we have called Gregorian calendar, right? It's actually start from in 15th century in the Gregorians. It's actually a modification of the Julius calendar that already exists like more than 15th century before that. Well, it leads back to when before Julius Caesar time in 6.
Oh, I remember the story. Was it because Augustus wanted an odd number? He wanted 31 days.
Yeah, it's one of yes, the same. Julius Caesar.
Oh.
It's actually before we have Julius calendar, we actually have only 10 months per year.
Okay.
And then that months is sometimes 30, sometimes 31. But because only 10 months, we only have like 304 days in 1 year. In that time, people will forget about winter because maybe because in that time in winter they don't really have a lot of activity, so they dismiss about the winter, so they only have like 304 days. But after that, in Julius Caesar time, he added 2 more months to, you know, like to make it right, to exact with the revolution of the earth, right?
Right.
And that plus month, before that, for 10 months is missing February and January.
Okay.
So it's only start from March. Way to December.
Oh, so the entire winter is gone.
Yeah, entire winter is gone.
Ah, okay.
And then after that is included in 2 more months, January and February. And at the first, January and February is put in the end of year.
Okay.
So still March is the first month, and then December is March is first month, and February is the last.
February is the last, yeah.
February is the last. That's why it's only have 28 because, you know, like the
Oh, because
That makes
before
sense.
it only.
Yeah.
like 30, 31, 30, 31, 30, 31, and then we only have like 28 days left. So,
Oh, that was
that's
it.
February.
And they never bothered to
sense.
change it later, so they never bothered that. They wanted to make sure that Christmas has
That's right.
enough days.
Yeah,
And then
So they have a
after
new
that,
year.
and then after that, we changed that again. That it's not March that the first month, and it's January the first
January.
month. So they change the first month of the year, but not change the amount of days.
Right.
in February. So that's why February is have the least days of the year.
So that's why you added.
And then when we have the that concept of leap days, yeah, we add that to the very list of days in that month, right? In February. So that's why.
Ah,
No, I know.
It's very interesting.
Like Kai and Mas, actually we was born with something different. Like
Of course.
in many countries, like do they have like special traditions to celebrate the leap year?
that mystical.
Yeah, like that. Maybe Maya people in Mexico or
Yeah, since the leap day can only apply 100 years ago, so we don't talk about Maya and Mexico because they don't know that yet.
Also, leap year only started 100 years ago.
yeah.
Yes,
Right.
but still, people will have different customs and traditions. Well, sadly, we don't have that in here, local
In
Indonesia.
Indonesia,
I don't think that we have that.
Yeah, we don't have
So, correct me if I'm wrong. I always thought that, you know, there was a sense of, okay, we start in January because this is the point where it begins, but there is actually no point where the circle begins, right? So it
Yeah.
doesn't actually matter which month is the first month of the year.
Yes.
All that it matters is how many days there are in a year. Okay.
No, you're
But
right.
actually,
Now I know.
yeah, locally we don't have that. But interestingly, in
part of the world.
yeah, in other part of the world, for example, like in British, in England and Ireland, they actually have this tradition that leap day is actually called Bachelor's Day because in the past, this is actually very interesting. In the past, sometimes women, you know, like feel tired that they are not proposed by their man, so they ask to the governor that can you make a rules that women can propose instead of men to men, right?
Oh,
There's a movie called The Leap Year. Have
Oh,
you
really?
seen it? There's a movie called The Leap
Yeah.
Year. Now I understand what it's about because I was like watching.
What is
Why?
that? Why is
Why?
this?
Oh.
Yeah.
So they don't
So-
feel so pressured to have to propose
Yeah.
every single year. So
Yes.
you pick one day that only
Yeah.
happens every 4 years.
That government in that time, that government can only allow women to propose to the man only one day in every 4 years, which is in leap days.
Because sometimes the woman gotta do it when the man don't do it.
Of course, right? But
You waited 4 years.
for years.
4 years, you can imagine that. So, but in other part of the world, like in Greece, for example, like they have this custom that it will be bad luck to marry on 29 of February. So
Because
they
you'd
have
only
this-
celebrate your anniversary every 4 years.
probably.
But what if the child is born on the 29th, right?
Oh yeah. We of course we have that people born at 29. Well, they celebrate that in leap day, of course, in 29, like today. Actually, I want to say that happy birthday for people who
Happy
born
birthday!
today.
Happy birthday!
for you.
Yeah, I said, you know, I asked an aunt of mine, is a friend of my mother's, who was born on a leap year, on a leap day, and she was, and I asked her, so you're still so young. You're like your age divided by minus,
Four, yeah.
yeah. You know what I mean? So like you celebrate every year, but yet you only turn, you know, you only get older every 4 years. So it's pretty amazing.
They actually celebrate that in 1st of March if there's no leap days or leap years.
So better pass.
But interestingly, interestingly, in many parts of the world, sometimes they have this festival specifically for people who born at 29 February. For example, like in Texas, they have this festival of it's called leaplings. So they can just sign into that festival, and then they usually have party all night in 29 February.
Extra discount for the leaplings because they only celebrate every 4 years.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go. Well, you know what, Mas Rayhan, this was very eye-opening, right? There was a lot of things that we didn't know before. And thank you so much for that information, but you're still going to stay here with us. We're only going for a short break, and we will be right back after the break. So See the Stories will continue. Stay tuned right here.